This what I tell them. Look, I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. Hot or cold, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with a topic session today. And today we are here with my guy, Mr. Tim Gaynor. Great man coming out of the Colorado area, Denver, doing some really neat things. Been blessed and fortunate to be in leadership roles, coaching and training, and just a great guy. And I'm excited to be back with him for this topic session. And, I was blessed to interview him, and we hit on some things that we, kind of were like-minded and like-hearted on.
Right.
And so felt that we needed to follow up with it and get this quality content to you guys because we're very passionate about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Hey, good morning, and thanks for reaching back out. And I'm looking forward to our time today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, today we're going to hit on limits. When we talked, there were some things that, you talked about. You had some keys on, not having limits or not limiting yourself. And that's something that I wholeheartedly believe in too. I think if you limit yourself, you limit yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's one of the things that you and I were talking about, kind of like why I do what I do. Why am I a coach? Why do I do some workshops and training? And I really have been given this desire, this passion, really kind of this burning desire inside me to help other people to push past those limits or limitations. And I look at it as, and when I say look at it, John Maxwell kind of defined it in a perfect way. He called it like a lid. So if you think of yourself, and we kind of put this lid of capability on ourselves, it's a lid, it's a cap, whatever you want to call it, we put it on ourselves, and we say to ourselves that, hey, we can't do X, Y, Z because of, and then we have like 100 reasons why we can't do something. So we really limit what we were, in my opinion, what we were made to do. And to be honest, a lot of people understand that, hey, this isn't the life that I want. I really want to do this, or that. But then we put these lids on ourselves, or we allow society to put these lids on ourselves. Like, hey, I am this age, whether I'm too young or too old, or, I have this kind of economic background, so I can't do this. I don't have this kind of education. So society says I can't do whatever it is. So then we buy that, we believe that, and then we put that lid or cap on ourselves without realizing that we're not going to live to our full potential, to what we were made to do. And I have a real passion to help people try to push through that lid, that cap, so they can move forward and live that life that they truly were made to live.
I love it. And I think, for me, I got some points that I wanted to hit on with that. We can just, go back and forth on that. And I'll just talk about some of the things that, that come to mind, when you talk about lids or limits. And like I said before, I truly feel that, if you limit yourself, you limit yourself. And as you were talking about, we look at, our socioeconomic status, or where I'm from, or my family only did this, or the people where I'm from. Well, I think we have to really understand that we can break those cycles. We are, all of us, the big man gave us all a special gift,
right? Something
special within us. We just have to, find out what that is and go out and do it and live our purpose and our passion.
Yeah, that it's absolutely true. We are not our past. We are not, anything that anybody tells us we are. We are not any of those things. We are who we were made to be. And you're absolutely right. And I think, you said we have to find that, in essence, I think we know that it just takes a little bit time of just scratching the surface to figure it out. What you enjoy doing, what you're good at. I always joke with people, I'm not going to get to heaven someday. God's going to go, hey, Tim, man, I wanted you to be a mechanic. dude? Why weren't you a mechanic? I'd be like, what are you talking about? I can't put anything together. I hate it. You know what? I read directions and I'm like, I don't even know what this says. You know, my wife put our grill together one year. So I'm pretty sure that, he's not going, hey, I made you to be a mechanic, because that's not what I like doing. I'm not good at that. You know, the things that I'm good at, that I enjoy, that's my path. That's what I've been made to do. And we all know what those things are. We just go only so far. Then we take an exit off that road and just stop and stall and stay there instead of moving forward, again, living our life to the fullest.
I love that. So true. Well, for me, there's three things that I like to hit on with that. And I think it's beliefs, mindsets, and actions.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have to believe that great things can happen to us regardless.
Right.
You know, I don't care like where you come from, what you've been through, like regardless, you have to believe that, you know, and not in an arrogant way, but in a humble and hungry way.
Yeah.
You know, be grateful for what you do have, but then also be hungry to achieve, you know, what it is your purpose and your passion is. And we talked about, you know, the big man has given each of us a special talent. You just have to, you know, I don't know, we have to look within to win.
Mm-hmm.
We have to enter so that we can get to enter ourselves, so that we can get to the interview.
Right. Hey, that's good. I like it. Yeah, no doubt.
And so I think when we focus all that energy and effort into striving to be the best version of ourselves and figure ourselves out, I wholeheartedly believe that organically we eliminate the distractions.
Mm-hmm.
Organically, amazing things happen. Mm-hmm. Organically, we have tunnel vision, but then also we become aware of the things that are going on too, because we're deeper. It's on another level of focus and energy and drive and passion.
Yeah, absolutely. I call that the abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset. You know, when you have that abundance mindset, you know you're looking for something. You know something's there. You know something's out there. And once you've trained your mind to look for that, you find it. If you have a scarcity mindset and you go, it's not there, I can't do it, then guess what? You won't be able to, and you can't find it. Yeah. I use this example. We bought a new car about a year ago. You know, it's like the first time. My kids are older now, so it's like the first time ever I bought a car for myself instead of the family car. So I bought this nice little 4x4 Colorado truck that I can take off the road. And, you know, I know before I bought it that other people had Chevy Colorados. I knew that. That's okay. I bought mine, and it was amazing within the 2 weeks after I bought my car, how many other Colorado Chevys I saw out there. And I wasn't looking for them, but that's what my mind was focused on. My mind was focused on my new car, my Colorado Chevy. And since that's what my mind was trained to, that's what it was looking for, and that's what it found. And that's the same thing with things in our life. If we're looking for, we have that abundance mindset, we're looking for things out there. As you said, we'll start seeing it. We'll start seeing it. Then when we see it, we'll start acting on it, and we'll start living it.
That's it. And that was the key. The next point that I was going to hit on is mindset. You know, I think the mindset must be a positive one. You know, I like to tell people, you know, my blood type is B positive. You know, nice. And I try to stay away from people with the blood type of O negative. You know? And so I think, you know, when you have that positive mindset, everything else again falls in line. And, you know, and a big thing for me is the self-talk that comes from that. You know, the self-talk determines your self-success story, I believe.
Yeah. You were absolutely right. You know, as you were talking about those things there, your three things, you know, self-talk is on my list of in this topic, but in almost every other category and topic that I have when I'm coaching folks or do workshops. You know, we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anybody ever on the earth. And if you think about the things that we say to ourselves, if those were ever published, how embarrassed would we be about those things that we say to ourselves? We would never say those things to other people. We would never call those people those names that we call ourselves, and the way that we talk to ourselves. You know, I wouldn't. I mean, you know, if someone said, "Oh, by the way, I recorded everything you've ever said to yourself," I'd be like, "All right, I'm out. I got to go hide," because they're not nice. They're yeah, exactly. They're not nice, and those things bring me down. That's just how our brain works. I love the neuroscience of how our brain works. It will live it will do what it hears. And if it starts hearing all these negative things, it's going to buy those negative things. And if it buys those negative things, then you're just going to live that way as well. So you're dead on. Self-talk is a key to success in anything.
That's it. That's it. I think the thing too, the next step is our actions. To me, actions speak louder than words. I'm not a, crazy, wild out there, life of the party kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just, stay in my lane, do my thing, work my
Mm-hmm.
tail off, and strive to be the best version of myself. And I think that, actions speak louder than words. And to me, it's a process. I think
Mm-hmm.
to get to that place in our lives, it's a process to get where our beliefs and our mindset match our actions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it's definitely a process.
Yeah, I would agree. One of the things that I think helps in that arena there. So, we were talking about those lids or those caps that we have on us. If you kind of thought about, if I ask you, hey, Chip, rate yourself, your self-value, your self-worth from 1 to 10.
Mhm.
10 being you're a superhero, man. Like 10, you could do anything. You could fly. You could, you could do anything. That's a 10. And a 1 obviously is an opposite of that, whatever that looks like to you. So you rate yourself, and let's just say you rated yourself a 4. So 4 is obviously on the lower end of that scale. And here's the deal how this works. In your life, if you see yourself as a 4, which is obviously with very low or lower self-worth, self-esteem, then if you see yourself that way, then you're going to start acting that way, and you're going to start thinking that way. And if you think that way, you act that way, and that's how you're going to portray yourself. Then if that's the way you portray yourself, then the world sees you in that, because that's how you're coming across to them. And if they see you in that manner, that's how they're going to treat and respond to you in that way. Versus if you have that abundance mindset, things, you've got this high self-worth, self-value, you're an 8 or 9 or whatever, you're going to think that way, you're going to start acting that way, you're going to start behaving in that way with high self-worth, self-value, and then the world's going to see you that way as well. So not only does it affect you, it affects your circle and those people around you as well.
Oh man. And that was the next thing I was gonna say too.
Hey, we didn't share notes, I swear we did not, man. That's awesome.
It's crazy. I think the positive limitless mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and what you explained to me, my take is that it becomes infectious
Mm-hmm.
and contagious.
Mm-hmm.
And then it starts, leadership, all it starts on the inside, and then it projects out. And so,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it infects others around you, like the flu,
Yeah.
and it spreads out like a virus and makes our world a better place.
Mm-hmm.
And you just think about it, it really just started with you not limiting yourself and putting a lid on what you think you can do and having that positive self-talk.
Yeah, absolutely.
One person.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You think about your close circle of friends and family and how that can affect them. So let's just say it's 4 people. Well, those 4 people each have 4 in their lives. So now you're 16. Those 16 got 4, and I'm not going to do that much math this early in the morning, but you can just see how that affects everybody moving forward. So you're dead on there in regards to the being able to multiply that around the world by just having that yourself and spreading that to your immediate circle around you.
Yeah, there's a book that we were discussing the last time we talked, and in that book it has a scenario about addition versus multiplication.
Mm,
And with one person, um, you know, Tim Gaynor can add lots of value to our world.
hmm
With one person, Chip Baker can add lots of value to our world. But
Right.
when we come together like we're doing today
hmm
on this topic session, and we can come together, and now the value that we add, it multiplies.
hmm Yeah,
And just like
absolutely.
you said, the math, you work in the math, and when you got higher than that 4 times 16, I was about to break out the calculator. But but man, seriously though, like when we can come together with like-minded and like-hearted people,
hmm
for one, it shows us that, hey man, you really don't have to limit yourself.
hmm
You can, like,
hmm
what do you want to do? What do you want to be? You want to go fly?
Right.
Let's do it. You know what I'm saying? I got your
Yeah,
back,
that's right.
and again, I go back to saying, it starts from you believing, having the right beliefs, having
hmm
the right mindset, and then following up those things with the
hmm
proper actions.
Right. I think one of the other things on, maybe this is on your list too, the way we're going, it probably is, the comparison. We do a lot of comparing ourselves to other people. And I think it was Roosevelt that, had a very good, one of our past presidents had a really good quote about comparison. I think he said it was the thief of joy. I change it up a bit. I call it comparison is the killer of joy. And when you have that joy and you start comparing your world, your life to other people, first of all, it's never an even comparison. It's, especially in this day and age with social media, all we're doing, and I heard this example from Stephen Furtick. He's a pastor.
Yes.
He wrote a book called Crash the Chatterbox, which we're recommending books. It's I'd recommend that to anybody. It's an amazing book that talks about the conversation you have in your head. But he said, what we do on this comparison is we compare our everyday, because we know everything about us. We know what we think. We know our thoughts. We know everything about us. We compare that to someone else's highlight reel. And then we go, why aren't I like that? What's their highlight reel? I mean, over the last couple decades, you could probably take a good 20 minutes of my life and have a pretty good highlight reel, but you'd also could probably take about, 100 hours of it and just go, man, that is a disaster. How's he even breathing? So we do this comparison. And then it really prevents us from moving on because we're like, gosh, they have this, they've had that given to them, they had that advantage. I didn't have that. And we have no idea people's stories and what they had to work through to get to where they're at. To me, it's like professional athletes. Today's Sunday, so a lot of us will be watching some NFL football. And we look at these guys, go, man, they've got the life. They're out there. They make $1 million. They get to play this game. But what we don't realize or we don't remember is all the work they took to get there. We're comparing our life to their highlight reel of a 3-hour game today, when in reality, they spent thousands of hours practicing. Even this week alone, they spent 3 days in practice and watching film and lifting weights and watching their diet to play a 3-hour game. We focus on the 3-hour, but we don't focus on the road that it takes to get there. And then we're like, well, I can't do that. Instead of focusing on what we can do and what we are, the capability that we can go on in that path, that we can get to where they're at, and not just focus at the end goal. We have to understand their story and how they got there.
The process.
Yeah, absolutely.
The
process.
And you hear people say, just learn to enjoy the process. I think when we can do that and know that, I agree wholeheartedly, the comparison, that's a dangerous thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dangerous thing. I think we have to just be a better you than you were yesterday.
Yep, absolutely.
If I can, I've gotten to a point where if I can be better just today than I was yesterday, man, I'm winning big.
Right.
And then if I can do the same thing tomorrow, just, baby steps, young grasshopper.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can just get, one step better tomorrow than I was today.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go a week of that and I've made some pretty good progress.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only one Chip Baker, and there's only been one Chip Baker. There'll only be one Chip Baker. So, there's no reason for us to waste our time trying to be someone else. Be us, be you, be who we were made to be. And that makes life so much easier because you know what? The only one that can actually be us is us.
Hey, boom.
That's right. All right.
Let's go. That's right. My drop, baby.
That's right.
No, but great points. Are there any other points that you would like to hit on before we get off? I think it's some great points we hit, I think.
I think part of this too, I've seen even in myself and I've seen in other people that I've worked with, it's really truly where we try to find our self-worth and our self-value from. We look for it in so many different places.
Mm-hmm.
We look for it on social media. We look for it in maybe a movie or a book or a TV show. We look for it in our friends and, maybe even other family members. And we look for our self-worth. And then that kind of determines how we see ourselves. Well, the problem with that is, some of those people we don't even know. Again, we've already talked about it, social media. We're just looking at someone's highlight reel. And the other people, we may not know their true story. So we're making up a story on how they see us. Again, your self-worth comes from within. It comes from within. And, my personal belief is my self-worth comes from as you said, the man upstairs that made me. That's who I am. If I can't worry about how anybody else sees me. I need to understand how he sees me, and how he sees me determines how I'm going to act.
And that's the only thing that matters.
Absolutely. That's right.
I mean, that's right. I think for me, just going back as you were saying that, it made me reflect on. You know, I don't know if I told you this when we talked the last time, but my family is educators and church folk, and it's a difference between folk and folks.
All
Right?
right.
Church folk and church folks.
There you go.
And church folk, like, you know, we're in church from can till can't, right?
Yeah.
If the church is open, we're in there. And there was
Gotcha.
my mother was the minister of music at all of our churches growing up, and
Nice.
my grandmother as well. And so
Mhm.
just faith-based religious people. And
Mhm.
growing up, you don't understand like some of the things, the disciplines that are instilled as a kid. But
Mhm.
then as you get older, you look back and you're thankful that you have that. And I say all that to say this, those base, fundamental, foundational things, like you said, what matters is what the big man thinks.
Mhm.
You know, like
Yeah.
none of that other stuff, worldly, none of that matters.
Mhm.
You know, what matters is your belief in the big man and how he views you.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you get, you know, your opportunity to go hang out with him, you know, when you can say, hey, he can say, Chip, that was all right.
Yes. That's right.
You know,
Yep.
and that's the goal, you know, that's the goal.
Mhm.
And it's
Yep.
great to have that foundation, if you will, of core common principles that never go out of style.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny, my philosophy is I can't argue with, and again, my belief, I can't argue with who made me. I mean, he made me. How can I argue with? Well, that doesn't work. I can't do that. He's like, I made you. I know what you can do. And it's
Yeah.
like, you know, we have car manuals, and we buy them, and yes, they're like, you know, a phone book. And if I want to know what my car can do, I don't go ask you. I don't go ask my neighbor. I don't look on social media. I read the manual, and I read the manual because the people who made the car knows what the car can do. So if I want to say, hey, can my Colorado truck, Chevy Colorado truck do this? I look at the manual. Oh, it can do that. You know, and sometimes I look at other things in the world and I go, well, I can't do that because of that out there, because of this out there. They said that, versus looking at the manual going, oh, well, I was made this way. I can do this.
Yeah.
This is who the maker said I could be and what I can do.
The maker. Yep, that's it. And you're a great make and model too.
Yeah.
You know,
it's got a lot of dents and stuff, but that's all right.
yeah, that's right. But that's good stuff. Well, before we get off, again, I'd like to give you an opportunity to share where the audience can go check you out and follow you and support you with your cause, because your movement is a really neat movement and lots of positive things. And, you know, as you audience can see from the nuggets that's been dropped today, it's some good stuff. And so, you know, please go out and check Tim out and show him some support. But if you don't mind sharing with the audience where they can go do that.
No, I appreciate that opportunity. You know, a couple different places. My website's www.coachdevelopandinspire.com. I'm on LinkedIn under Tim Gaynor, a lot of information out there. And then Facebook, there's a Coach Develop and Inspire page. And also on YouTube, Coach Develop and Inspire. I have some 2-minute videos out there, I guess, as Chip calls them, some 2 minutes worth of nuggets out there on YouTube as well.
Well, there it is. Again, I want to say thanks so much for your time, Tim, and I wish you continued success at everything that you're doing. It's good stuff.
I appreciate it. Thanks again.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for checking out this topic session. What is your lid? Go get it.
There you go.
Go get it.